the short delay. We just had some technical issues right there. And let's jump in right straight into the point. Today we have with us two special guests. One of them, I'll start first with our VP Professional Development, Eturu Beda. And of course, our special, very special guest, Jason Scott. I'd like to introduce very briefly Jason before I pass on the mic to him, and then he can give us all of those awesome knowledge he's about to share with us today. So, Jason is an amazing leader, instructor, and author of best-selling book. He teaches organizational leadership and project management techniques with the Agile framework, and he's also the writer and the founder of 120 VC Foundation. So, Jason, straight to you right now. How are you doing today? Glad we
Great,
could have you.
great. I'm excited. This is my first LinkedIn live stream, so new is good.
Welcome to the
It's
club.
hard to come across new in our business at my age.
Awesome. Well, this is LinkedIn Live. Pretty awesome, pretty fun. We're glad you could join us today. So, tell us briefly about yourself. I know I already tried. I went ahead to introduce you. Maybe there's something I missed out that you'd like to share with us.
No, I'd say simply put, I'm obsessed with helping leaders and their teams get the necessary and expected outcomes. I at least from my journey, I know that real leadership wasn't what I was taught that it was growing up in gangland Los Angeles and then in the military. And then I'm going to admit it, when I got my first team, I was an egomaniac boss. And so a lot of the things that I did were pretty terrible looking back. I mean, nothing really that terrible, but my heart still hurts a little bit just because I didn't know what I was doing and I was careless with my team. And so I am obsessed with sharing like real leadership techniques and getting people to see the difference between, a boss and playing for yourself and a leader who's playing for their team and enabling their team to succeed. Because when our teams are successful, we're successful. And one method is much more motivating than the other.
Correct. Eturo, before we get
Yeah,
started with our topic today, is there anything you would like to say? Maybe a brief.
yeah. PMI says, the project manager spends 90% of his time in communication, and listening probably is half of the communication. But what is different about active listening? Beside hearing, just hearing, simply hearing. So I think Jason, we need your, elaboration on how this works.
Are you ready for me to jump into active listening?
Go for it.
Hey, so is real quick on this, is everybody here? I see Erdegrol, I see you, Henry. I
Oh
don't
no,
see I don't see Mina.
Mina, Mina is backstage. She sees everything, hears everything, but we don't see her.
Ah, good. Okay, so it's just us talking.
Yeah,
Will I be
just
able will I be able to engage with the audience just out of curiosity?
yeah. Soon enough, those questions will start popping. And soon as the questions start popping, I throw them on the screen. I let you draw your attention to them.
Okay, cool. So can I go ahead and share my screen?
Oh, sure. You wanted to share? Go ahead.
Do
Try
you not
that.
want me to?
No. Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like people. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, look, we already have people confirming that they're here with us. We have a viewer there, Brenda, saying she's here.
Okay, cool. All right, then I'll just. It looks like I'd have to reboot to share, so I'll
No
know
worries.
better
I'll
next
just
time.
put that presentation on for
So
you then.
so
I think
active.
Henry has that presentation he can share,
Yeah, I'll
right?
just throw that presentation on for you. I was scared that I would have issues like this, so I'm just.
Mina gave it
Yeah, no,
to
we're in, and you know what? Here's the deal. It's okay. I can do this without the visuals. I've got it on my side. So let's keep
Cool.
it. Oh well,
There we
there it
go.
is exactly. Active listening. All right. So Ertugrul, you asked me the question. Like, basically, I think what does active listening have to do with leadership? And like to your point, like how am I leading if I'm just listening, right? And so this is where the active comes in. So I was recently on a podcast and we were really talking about um, the podcast host's old bosses, and he was telling me about a time how he worked for this person, and this person would basically tell the team how to do their jobs, and this person made it really clear that they were all there to work really hard so he could be successful. And when I asked him how that made him feel, he said it made me feel terrible. Like, he said a couple of negative things, and I find universally this is the case. And I pointed out to him, when you're telling somebody how to do your job, that's not leading. That's telling, that's bossing. And more importantly, how I would do your job, Henry, is not optimized for you. It's optimized for me. So to tell you how I would do your job isn't frankly helpful. To help you figure out how you would do your job is leadership. Like, a leader says, hey, I think we need to do this thing. And then asks, is this your wheelhouse, Henry? Is this your wheelhouse, Urtugrul? And when you say yes, now my job, and we've all heard this, right? My job as a leader is what? To set you up for success, right? To help you where I can, to get alignment. I need to make a list of all the buzzwords that we read, right? So I can read them off at some point, but I'm always just riffing. So here's where active listening is leadership. And it's interesting. I was describing active listening, and the podcast host said, well, that's like interviewing. And I said, that is a brilliant visual that I'm going to use from now on, because active listening is like interviewing. So Henry, I'm going to use my anchor person. So let's say I come to you and I say, hey, I think our organization would benefit from this thing. What do you think? And you look at me and you say yes. And I say, well, listen, the reason I'm bringing this to you is because I think this fits right in with your skill set. I think you do a good job. What do you think? Then you say yes. And this is where most leaders mess up. So then you say, yes, it's you. And then I'm going to ask a rookie question like, well, do you have everything you need to do the job? You're going to think. And in your mind, you think you do, but I don't know what you think you need because I didn't ask you. And I also don't even know what you understood about what I said we needed to do. And so then I'm going to say, do you understand? And you're an intelligent person. You understand something. So you say, well, yes, I do. Have you ever been in that situation where then you went off and worked for like 3 or 4 days? You felt like you nailed it. You brought it back to that manager and they were like, no, Henry, this is not what I need.
We've all been there.
So here's the thing. That was neither me being a boss because I didn't tell you how to do your job, but that was also not me being an effective leader because I did not set you up for success. And so this is where active listening or even interviewing with a curiosity. And so instead of that, I'm gonna go straight to an open-ended question. I'm gonna ask you, Hen, do me a favor and walk me through your immediate next steps. Tell me how you're gonna accomplish this. There's beauty in this because as you start talking, now I know based on what you said, what you heard. What you tell me you're going to do is predictive of the outcome that I'm going to get. And so every once in a while, I'm going to interrupt you and I'm going to say, hey, this is what I think you're saying. Have you ever been messaging to somebody and then ask them, do you understand? And they say, yeah. Well, yeah, they do understand something, but then later you found out you were not on the same page. So for me, I'm going to reflect back. Henry, this is what I think you're saying. When you say yes, I know we have alignment. We're on the same page, right? So this is how we get alignment. If what I say back to you or what I reflect back to you isn't what you're saying to me, you'll course correct. You'll go, oh no. And the reason you can course correct is because you know what I'm hearing. I'm hearing this thing that is not what you want me to hear. So I reflect it. If necessary, you course correct. And so as you're then describing what you're going to do, and I'm reflecting back, making sure that we have alignment and I understand what you're saying you're going to do, I'm thinking to myself, do I think this will work? Because I'm your leader. Like, if you're describing something that I think will not work, I do not want to send you out into the wilderness because my job is to set you up for success. And so this is where the empathizing comes in. So I'm not thinking, is this how I would do it? Because I'm not trying to help you figure out how I would do it. I'm trying to help you figure out the most optimal way for you. So if I think, hey, I don't think this is going to work, which is what we've been taught to think. The problem with that is that's a judgment. If I say to you, I don't think it's going to work, what I've seen most often when I did that, their body language changes and they will often say to me, well, well, how would you do it then? And what I think, I see their body language. Sometimes they even make a noise like, shh. I think that they're thinking, well, why did you even ask me then? So just tell me what you want me to do, Jay. Well, I've just destroyed an opportunity for effective leadership by judging it, by saying, I don't think that's going to work. And more importantly, it's not just a judgment. It's an assumption. Have you ever had somebody tell you how to do something, you think it won't work, and it turned out it worked just fine, like you were wrong? I mean, I might be old, but I'm not Yoda, right? So instead of judging it and saying that's not going to work, I'm going to say to you, Henry, dude, I don't understand. I I don't understand how that's going to work, and I need you to help me understand. Dude, asking for help, you're totally signed up. I've been paying attention. We're aligned. You know, I've been listening. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I'm simply going to say to you, I don't understand how this is going to work. More importantly, that's not an assumption. That's a fact. I don't get it. I don't get it. So I'm gonna then go to clarifying questions. Well, help me understand this, or you said this. What did you mean? Have you thought of this? Well, explain to me why you would do it that way. And what I'm doing is I'm engaging you curiously, like in an interview, to figure out like what you're seeing and why you would do it this way that I might be missing, right? And in that
Right.
asking questions, there's inevitably one of two things is going to happen. You're going to give me an answer that enlightens me, and suddenly I see how what you were describing is going to work, or I'm going to run out of questions to ask, and I'm going to say, listen, I still don't get it. Here's what I'm seeing in my head, right? This is how I see this going. Help me see what I'm missing. And again, this is beautiful in that I'm going to now describe what's in my head, and I might tell you then or give you a piece of information that you didn't have, where you go, oh, well, I didn't know that. And then you give me a new path to accomplishing it, and now I'm good. Or when I tell you what I'm seeing, you might see the thing that I'm missing and say, you know what? No, I had talked to Ertugrul earlier. We planned this and we have budget for that. That's why we can do this. And now I'm like, wow, now I totally see it. So it's less, so this whole, what I call setting people up for success, or what we call setting people up for success, or what I call helping people architect their own roadmap to a shared goal, that is leadership. Because I'm going to keep asking questions. I'm going to keep being curious until one of us figure out what's missing, and then we get alignment. And now when we both agree that this thing that you've described will work, what have I done? I've increased the likelihood it will work. We both think it's going to work, right? And I was a leader to you. I didn't just go, well, you know what? It's not my problem anyway. Like, I don't see how that's going to work, but I'll let him, if this doesn't work, he'll learn. That's terrible. That's not leadership. That's abdicating my responsibility to have your back. I'm just going to be like, dude, I don't understand. Let's keep talking about this until you have a plan that I understand. More importantly, this plan now that we both agree will work, I asked questions. I led you. I didn't tell you how to do your job. Never. I gave you information. I said, this is what I'm seeing. I'm sharing my experience with you, but ultimately you're deciding. You're taking that information, you're architecting your own roadmap to that shared goal. You're going to leave confident. You're going to know what you're doing, and we both feel like it's going to work. This is how we set people up for success, or what I call leadership.
Nice. And I know, just sorry to interrupt you there. I know we're already having people jumping into the show and training their questions. And Chakri is saying he's looking forward to hearing some tips on how to actively listen or communicate in the remote world. So maybe that is somewhere in what you have for us. Please feel free to drop that on us.
Oh my God, totally. It's beautiful because we're remote right now. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah.
So how do we effectively communicate or active listening in the remote world? Henry, tell me what your favorite thing in the whole wide world is.
Favorite thing in the whole wide world?
Yeah.
That's a complex question. Depends on what you're talking about. I say chocolate ice cream.
Dude, I love chocolate ice cream. What do you love about chocolate ice cream?
The taste, man. I just love that taste. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. I've tried vanilla, I've tried strawberry, but the taste of chocolate to me is just the bomb. Everything, there's nothing wrong with that taste.
So here's the question. I don't know how old you are, but clearly you're over the age of 10, and most of us are introduced to ice cream at 10. Was chocolate always your favorite?
Yep.
Dude, like always?
Always.
Huh. All right. So do you like pie?
Yeah, not really.
So you just do you eat, like when you eat your chocolate ice cream, is it just a bowl of chocolate?
Oh yeah, so I can do
Okay.
that. Like, I can fill with a pint of chocolate ice cream and go down on it. Yeah.
All right. So I'm a mint chip guy. I love mint chip and I
Okay.
like chocolate. If I were to fall in love with chocolate, meaning I really kind of want to get my head around, I really want to connect with your love of chocolate. Is there like a brand of chocolate that you would recommend?
As to that, I would say it's shameful, but I can't say it as a favorite brand. I love trying different brands of chocolates. That's me. Chocolates, I would experiment with brands. I know, okay, maybe I want to go with this brand, maybe never touch this brand. But I would say Maltesers are great. Minstrels, Galaxy Minstrels are awesome as well. You should try
Galaxy Mint Chews.
Minstrels. It's a weird pronunciation. I'll write it out in the audience for you. It's Minstrels.
Oh my, I do. I haven't even heard of that one. All right.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
it's not very popular in the US.
So question, are you in a relationship like with a significant other?
Married, bro.
Married, bro. All right. So what's their favorite ice cream?
Vanilla.
How does
It,
that
it,
work?
it's the same question I ask every time. Like, how? Like, vanilla, come on.
I mean, I have to be honest, I do dig some vanilla. I do. I dig it. This is the thing that I love about people, and more importantly, like the yin and the yang. Like you're in love with somebody that loves the antithesis of your ice cream. And what's also beautiful about that is it's still ice cream,
Still ice cream.
right? All right. So really quick, thank you for indulging me and the audience in what might have seemed like a ridiculous conversation. And I want you to know I made that question up on the fly, and Henry didn't have to answer me. He could have shut it down by saying, I'm not really into ice cream. Like on the off chance that it felt too foolish, it felt too weird. So what's cool about active listening is it might look like when I was active listening or describing it that I'm in control of the conversation flow, but it's not true. Henry was in control of the conversation flow. At any time, he could have given me a response that shut it down. The other thing also is I didn't ask a yes or no question. I didn't ask Henry, does he like ice cream? Because he would have said yes or no, end of conversation. I would have had to think up a new question, right? And so here's what I got to know. Henry loves chocolate ice cream. He doesn't care where he gets it. He doesn't care what the brand is. He loves chocolate ice cream, and he has always loved chocolate ice cream. And so if I were to ever, want to say thank you to Henry for something, I'm going to bring him chocolate ice cream. And so active listening is cool because we get on the same page, right? And then here's the thing. And then I was like, how do I make this spicy? Because I want to see if he's going to shut it down. I went straight for the significant other on like a live LinkedIn call. He could have shut it down, and he didn't shut it down. Henry was in complete control of where the conversation went, and I learned and I understand. Like I can't mess this chocolate ice cream thing up.
Actually, I noticed Henry was so enthusiastic, and then he had a very high level of morale, right?
And I
At
know
the
here's
end.
what else. Here's what else I know about Henry. He is proudly married, bro. Right? So if this were a situation where I was trying to help Henry find the best chocolate ice cream, or where I was trying to lead Henry, right, I would have learned a lot about Henry. And that's the other cool thing about leadership. The other most interesting thing about leadership and active listening, and leadership being about um, uh, asking questions, it's also about learning and connecting and creating trust. Like Henry, question: did you feel like I was sincerely interested in your chocolate ice cream?
Yeah.
And so for the audience, there's only two ways that human beings show care. One, through physical intimacy, which is not allowed at work. Let me just say that again. No physical intimacy at work. It can only end badly. Okay. Or listening. So I showed care by being curious, truly curious about Henry. If I was trying to help him architect his own roadmap to a shared goal, I'm in that game. I'm asking questions. I'm playing for Henry. That's how we feel cared for. And when our team members feel cared for, they will architect our success into their strategies for succeeding themselves. More importantly, I can actually later show Henry care. If I ever get the opportunity to bring him some chocolate ice cream, he's going to be like, oh my God, that guy listened to me. If I ever bring him some strawberry or some vanilla ice cream, he's going to be like, this guy is trying to manipulate me. He wants something. He doesn't care about me, because clearly we did an entire LinkedIn episode about how I like chocolate ice cream. Do you see? Right? Listening to people shows care. Also gives us the information to act in a way that shows care to that individual. What else?
All right, Jason, just before you continue, sorry, I have to interrupt again. I've noticed the time. It's crazy how time flies by when you're having fun, but we're gradually getting to that end point. So, so the audience, if there are any questions you really want to ask Jason while we have him, now is the time. And I'll throw it back to Jason. Jason is going to kind of summarize everything, and we'll jump into your questions. Jason, back to you.
I mean, I think the summary is leadership is helping other people figure out how best to accomplish the things that they're responsible for. Leaders actually don't assign work to people, because you can't help people stay accountable to a commitment that they didn't make. In the scenario with Henry, I asked him, I said, is this you? He said, yeah. And then I helped him figure out how to do it. I set him up for success. And lastly, in listening, in helping Henry, we're developing trust and a level of cooperation, right? That is going to create velocity around our success. And ultimately, active listening looks a lot like true interviewing somebody and really caring about what they're sharing with you, whether it be about getting something done or just chocolate ice cream.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Jason, it's crazy how much information you've given us without even going fully into all of the presentation. It's just mind blowing for me, and I'm sure everyone watching right now too are equally as amazed as I am right now. So, if you were to give any advice to any of our viewers about how to engage more, if is there any other thing you'd like um, to throw out there to them?
So somebody's asking about a class with PMI San Diego. I mean, as you guys know, 120 VC is in the business predominantly of delivering large global transformative projects for our clients. We also, through consulting, help their teams and their leaders get better at achieving the outcomes. And in that, we have an academy. So we do talks like this, we do workshops. Our flagship leadership program is our 14-week transformational leadership program. And not only do we get into active listening, but I'd say 50% of the curriculum is how-to leadership, because this is what we do all day long. We go into organizations, we pull together a team of people that we have no authority of, often not just in one company, but across multiple vendors to accomplish an outcome. So our 14-week program goes into enterprise project management, how-to techniques, because we only teach our playbooks, the things that we actually do on the job. We get into Scrum and Agile, we get into organizational change leadership, but at least 50% of the curriculum is leadership. You guys have heard that leaders are born and not made.
True that.
That's absolutely not true. Anybody with a little bit of practice can do this active listening thing. So here's what great leadership takes. First and foremost, you actually have to care for your team members. You have to care for them. Care, and when I say care, I don't mean like family or like friends. I mean just care about them as human beings and play for them. And then sincerely, actively listen to help them come up with a strategy that you both think will win. And over and over and over again, you will win, and they'll thank you for winning, and they'll like working with you, right? Does that seem like something somebody has to be born to do? No, a little bit of empathy, a lot of active listening, and that's just one of the techniques that we go over in the 14-week curriculum. I think he asked about the discount. So through PMI San Diego, you guys all actually, Ertagirl, you might be better to speak to the discount than I am. Right, so I know that there's a huge discount that you guys have negotiated. The retail is $2,500, and what are we giving off, Ertagirl? $1,000?
1,000, yeah. It's 1,500.
Okay, $1,000.
That is a huge discount.
Yeah, so that we ran an early bird special that is expired. All of you guys at PMI San Diego get that $1,000 discount off like forever.
Sweet.
No,
sweet,
for real.
sweet.
I'm gonna
Very
retire in
good.
San Diego someday, so you guys are my people.
Sweet, 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 sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
we have another question right there. And it's saying, as a PM, how do you ensure you are able to ensure alignment, consciousness among the team you manage?
Oh, okay. So alignment is what I just did. And this active listening thing can be done with an individual or with a group, because with a group, you're just facilitating and helping them all get to, like, helping them all architect a strategy to accomplish a shared goal. The consensus thing. So here's the deal. Consensus is not the goal. It's not the goal. If you can get there, meaning that everybody's like, oh, we've fallen on a strategy that we all agree on, that's great, but that's not life, right? That is certainly, I mean, leadership is hard. Like if that just happened all the time easily, we wouldn't really need great leaders, right? So the alignment part is getting them to talk about it and working to get them to like agree. This is most important, right? So there's agreement and there's commitment. And I learned this from Ron Glickman, CIO at Trader Joe's, or I should say Dr. Glickman. He is one of my mentors. He always talks about how agreement is from the heart. No, I'm sorry. Agreement is from the mind and commitment is from the heart. So when I find myself in those situations where one, I've actively listened, I've heard from everybody. Okay. And there's only so long we can talk about this, and I just can't get consensus. I can't get them to agree to any one way forward. What I'm going to say to them is, listen, we have to move forward, because the only way to truly fail is to stall and do nothing, right? Like leadership is about taking an organization on a journey and getting some outcomes. So here's the deal. I know solely because I can't get consensus, I can't get everybody to agree that we're going to move forward with some risk. From what we just talked about, I feel like, you know, this decision is the one that we're most inclined toward, but I'm hearing some of you don't feel like it'll work. All I'm asking is that you commit to an experiment, and we will not move forward with hubris. We will move forward cautiously, because I'm going to heed your warnings. But I feel like getting consensus is going to take us more time than we have. And so all I'm looking for you guys to do is commit to one way forward, and more importantly, commit to the success of this team. We're in this together, and if things start to go off the cliff, we will solve it together. We will pivot together. I will make no unilateral decisions. I will bring us back together. So all I'm asking for is not, I don't think I'm going to get that today. It's just your commitment for us to move forward and experiment with this strategy with our eyes wide open. So for the sake of education, I probably elaborated a little bit more than I would have if I were in a meeting actually trying to get people to commit as opposed to agree or consensus. So hopefully that was helpful.
Hopefully that was helpful. All right. Thank you very much, Jason. I don't know if there are any more questions out there before we finally bring it to an end. But while we're just waiting on any last minute questions, I'd like to also share with everyone that we're having a, like, I know Eturul and Jason just spoke about it, but we're having this 120 VC Transformational Leadership Program on the 7th of September. It's going to be from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's an online event. You go to our page, look that up. I'm sure you all have had a taste of the amount of value Jason provides. You probably don't want to miss that event. Go to the page, register, make sure you don't miss that event. Jason, any last advices, any last gold gems for us before we call it a day today?
One thing I
Two.
want to add, this is 14-week program.
It's a
It's
14-week
really
program. I'm sorry.
14-week
So it's
program.
going to be a 14-week program. I'm sure at the end of that 14 weeks program, it's going to be knowledge unlimited with everybody.
Yes,
There's so
this-
much information I can imagine already.
People say it changes their life. Honestly, I'm not just saying that.
I
That's
can
what other people
imagine
are saying.
it's in the title, transformational. It has to change your life.
And it positions you to do that same thing for others because that's what leadership is about. So I'll leave you with two things. You guys, I'm sure everybody's seen The Godfather. And so it's very popular in The Godfather to say, it's not personal, it's just business. And I think we try to carry that into business. Here's the truth. It's never just business. It's about people. It is personal. Care for your team and they will care for you. Second thing, leadership. When you step into that role as a leader and now you are responsible for a team, you are not in charge. You have a responsibility to care for those in your charge. Leadership isn't about you. Leadership is about your team.
There you have it, people. Leadership isn't about you, it's about your team. For some people, that is like mind blowing right there. Mic drop. If we had a mic, I'll give it to you right now to just drop it. There we go. There we go. Thank you very much, Jason. It's just been amazing, the amount of information. It's so sad we have not all of the time in the world, but damn, time. It's just crazy. Etero, before we go, is there anything you'd like to share with us? You've been quiet kind of the entire thing, just taking notes, jotting, getting all those
I really love the communication between you and Jason from active listening perspective, right? It very good communication, very good morale, and when you apply those at work, the productivity would go up significantly, and as well as the morale.
all the way up.
So right, and one thing I noticed, Jason covers to almost everything in his book, so-called irreverent project management. So why did you call it like this, Jason?
The Irreverent Guide to Project Management, our
Yeah,
enterprise.
why did you call irreverent guide?
Because
It's got all
there's
the
there's
practices
there,
to
there's
succeed.
so much commonly accepted wisdom out there that doesn't work. And because we only again share tools and techniques that we have proven work, what I've found over the years is that getting things done, whether you be a project manager or a product manager, an organizational change leader, like I said, we take organizations on a journey. So often the best way to get things done is to challenge standard convention. It's not about the status quo, it's about the status quo. So in trying to apply some of these commonly accepted best practices, we didn't get good results. So we did something different and we got good results. So, like I bring in, we go into agile and enterprise project management, and we show how they are absolutely compatible and absolutely not very different at all. In fact, like, all the agilists running around talking about how enterprise project management, it's not necessary, it's antiquated. All they did was rename all our stuff. And so that said, they have different use cases. They're both incredibly powerful, but more powerful when used together. So I say things like, steering committees don't work, like avoid them like the plague. And so, I mean, it's not rudely irreverent, but we do challenge a ton of commonly held beliefs.
Okay,
Awesome,
thank you.
awesome. Once again, thank you very much to both of you. Etoro, you've been wonderful. Jason, again, no words, no words. Thank you very much for having.
Thanks, Henry. Give me a Zoom high five.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
There we go. All right. So once again, for our viewers out there, we have a program, a 14 weeks program with Jason. It's right there on the page in the events section. Go check it out. You don't want to miss it. And our next live stream is going to be on the 16th of August, and it's going to be with our chapter president Chakri. He's going to be giving us all of some sneak previews of what it's going to be like in the conference. I know you guys know we've been planning some conference. We're going to give you some sneak peeks of what events and speakers and stuff. What's going to happen there, so you don't want to miss that. Again, thank you very much to all of you for watching. Thanks to our guests Jason and Eturu. Until we see you again next on the 16th. Have a good evening, everyone. Good night.
Peace.
Night.